want to express my appreciation for being able to join this very ambitious conversation and dialogue in Cleveland here. This is a fascinating exercise, and I'm excited to be part of it. I first want to provide the caveat that I am speaking today as an individual. I am not speaking on behalf of the Commission of Public Utilities of Ohio or the state of Ohio itself. But from my role as the commissioner for this state, I do have a unique vantage point, and I'd like to offer a few thoughts on advanced energy in particular, and how in my role and my colleagues in our roles together can work on two fronts, both the regulatory front as our role of rule makers and command and control, and in the role that we can play as conveners to establish dialogues or to promote dialogues. So I want to talk about just three areas where we're working. The first is energy efficiency, the second combined heat and power, and the third is renewables, all of which fall within the umbrella of advanced energy, at least by Ohio's definition. So on the energy efficiency front, our position has been, and I think this is very key to harvesting the vast potential energy that's out there, is that all cost-effective energy efficiency should be harvested and put to use in Ohio. Now, what does that mean? There are so many underlying policy questions that have to be answered, and they can be answered in a vast array of areas. So this becomes very key for decisions that are made at the Commission. How do you measure energy efficiency? What's the baseline? What is the cost effectiveness test? These are all critical policy positions that we need to decide in a very careful way so that we actually are able to harvest the best of what there is out there. One of the real challenges that we have with energy efficiency, as we do probably with the other topics, is that the investment is kind of lumpy. We pay at the front end for benefit that we receive over time. And it becomes challenging to convince consumers that they want to support that investment because they don't see the benefit up front. And in this economic environment, it becomes very challenging to pay more for your electricity bill or your gas bill than you might have to. So it's incumbent upon all of us to help folks understand what this investment means and why it's important to participate in and support underlying energy efficiency programs. That's on the regulatory end. On the, boy, I'm really flying through my time. On the convener end, one of the projects we have going on right now is we have been meeting throughout this entire year, probably once a month, twice a month, with a group of folks who want to promote retrofits in residential environments and in small business environments. And we've identified challenges that exist in each of those areas. And this group has decided to stand itself up as a coalition. And this is something that began with conversations at the Public Utilities Commission. So I'm happy to talk to you more about that if you have questions about it. But I think that's a role that we can play as well as convener, bringing together folks who actually have aligned interest and want to work together but may not know who they are and how they can intersect. Okay, so moving on to combined heat and power. The Department of Energy approached us last fall and helped us to see that there are a vast community of boilers throughout the state who are going to be impacted by new air pollution requirements. These boilers are housed in industrial facilities, in commercial facilities, institutional, so they're in hospitals, your colleges, your universities, and your manufacturing. These investment decisions are impending at these facilities. How do they pay for the environmental retrofits? They know they need to make the investment. Well, combined heat and power, the two big barriers to it have typically been financial and inertia. The folks who have these boilers have day jobs. You know, they don't necessarily want to become electricity producers. So we identified this in partnership and collaboration with the U.S. Department of Energy as an opportunity to approach these facilities to say, listen, we know you have a need for a new investment. How about if when you're considering this new investment for environmental retrofit, you at the same time consider whether or not combined heat and power can work. So to promote that opportunity, we have partnered with consultants funded by USDOE. They will come into these facilities. They will provide at no cost and no obligation a back of the envelope evaluation whether or not it makes sense in those facilities. If it does and the facility wishes to continue, they can get DOE's assistance in putting together a request for proposal and evaluating those requests for proposal. So what we tried to do is find very solid, concrete ways to support these. So then the Public Utilities Commission, behind this DOE effort, came together with a series of workshops. And if you go to our website, you can see that we've had 4 workshops so far. We've become a repository of information for these facilities to help reduce those educational and regulatory barriers. And I've lost my time. Okay, one more topic. I'm going to move on from combined heat power. Renewable. I know you're all excited about renewables. From my vantage point, I think renewables provide some policy challenges that we do see at the Public Utilities Commission. One of which is we are not a vertically integrated state any longer. That is, the Public Utilities Commission does not work through integrated resource planning to help decide what should the portfolio of generation consist of. The market is driving that, and that becomes very challenging to figure out how do you do integrated resource planning inside of this market environment. So one of the very key areas that the Public Utilities Commission has been working in is the PJM interconnection. The Regional Transmission Organization becomes the market, and in that venue, we have been working to promote policies to be sure that energy efficiency, demand response, renewables, all have at least equal access to that market as a kilowatt hour does. So I'm sure I'm past my time at this point, and I will be happy to take questions on any of those topics and others as we go through the day.
Thank you, Cheryl.